Hello, gorgeous humans of Earth. It is I, Christina, here at Fit and Bendy Studios in Los Angeles with part 2 of our splits prep series. If you are here, it means either A, you've been doing splits prep 1 for a while and you're feeling ready to challenge yourself a little more, or 2, you are looking for a more strenuous warm-up for your splits training in some of our more advanced videos. If you've gotten to a point where you're wondering, hey, maybe I'm ready to start training the splits, I'm not sure, you will also find linked below a video with a test, a flexibility test that gives you sort of a general guideline of what I consider a good place to be to start training your split. For today's workout, you're going to need 2 things. 1, strap. Whatever looks like a strap, less stretchy is better so it can support the weight of your leg. And 2, some kind of sturdy piece of furniture. If you don't have an Apple box, a chair, a table, anything that feels like you can hold onto it and put your weight on it. All right, everybody, let's start out on the floor. Meet me down there. So just make sure that you have your strap and your furniture handy because we are going to use it. You know what else is going to help with this workout? A Nomi Malone shirt from Trash People Clothing. Thank you, Trash People, for this amazing shirt. I shredded it to look extra 80s because I never get tired of 80s. Once a child of the 80s, always a child of the 80s. So awesome outfits in leopard print never hurt your workout. Are we ready? Let's stretch our hamstrings. So you're going to lay down on the floor and extend both legs out long. Just like with our last exercise, we're going to start by trying to build up the strength in our hips. We're just going to go a little bit harder on this one. So go ahead and lift your leg up, whichever leg you're starting with. And we're going to put the strap around the foot. And the strap is there to use as much or as little as you need to get these hip flexors to strengthen without overworking. You want to feel work in the hips, work in the quads, but not strain, not cramping, not tears, no misery, all right? Work, no misery. From here, we're going to keep that leg nice and straight and long, lower it down towards the floor, and lift it back up. Now, however much you want to use that strap to help with the lift is up to you. What we don't want is 100% strap, right? So I'm not using biceps to lift that leg up. As much as possible, I want to feel my hip muscles working. I'm also making sure that I'm not using my waist muscles, which would look like me crunching, right? I'm trying to keep length through the side of my waist and both hip bones even with each other the entire time. There's a little bit of inner thigh engagement happening as well. So I should be getting a workout here, and maybe at the top a little bit of a stretch, but we're focusing on building this strength, which we need to help our hips open up. Go ahead and stop at the top, and we're just going to do a little hello of a flex and point with that foot. And as you're doing this, you're taking inventory and feeling what the back of that leg feels like. Really important to notice which parts of our leg are resistant to the stretch. All right, so it could be in the back of the thigh, could be in the back of the knee, could be in the calf, wherever it is for you. Let's stop there with that foot flexed. Feel those muscles. Take a big breath in. And as you exhale, gently squeeze that tight muscle. So I'm actually pressing my foot into the strap, and I'm using my arm strength to make sure that leg doesn't move as I resist the stretch. It's what the muscles want to do anyway. Let's let them do it. Hold it here for 3, 2, 1, and then see if that leg will give you just a little bit more room. It might not. So depending on what your limiting factor is on the back of the leg, this might be super useful or not, but it's good to try it out. And you can repeat it 2 to 3 times if you found it useful. And one more time, let's flex and point that foot, get that nice range of motion through the ankle to open up the back of the leg. Good. And then hold that foot flexed and take the strap off. So now we're going to slowly lower that leg back down to the ground using that strength that we created. And imagine that you're trying to touch your foot to the ground as far away from you as possible. Excellent. Let's try the other side. So we're going to lift that leg up and put the strap around the foot and extend the leg back out. So leg is all the way straight, knee muscles are squeezed, hip muscles are working to hold the leg up. You can come light on the strap, you can come heavier on the strap. And we're going to lower that leg down, reaching it out super, super, super long, like it's trying to touch the ground past the other leg. And then keep that feeling of length, like you're trying to touch your toes to the ceiling as you bring it back up. So depending on where you're at with this, this might feel more like a strengthening exercise than a stretching exercise, and that's fine. Our goal is to develop the strength through our knees and our hips to the point that we can use those muscles to stretch the hamstrings, to stretch the back of the legs. Now, you might also notice that one leg is easier than the other. So that is totally normal, and we discuss in all the videos how we are lopsided in the way that we live. And so our muscles build differently right to left. So if you feel like one leg is a little bit less strong or a little bit less flexible than the other, I encourage you in your training to spend a little bit more time on that tighter leg. Let's go ahead and do one more. I have no idea how many we've done. I could have been talking for 10 hours. And we're going to lift that leg up. And now here comes our hello. We're going to flex and point. Little hello, to say hi to the muscles in the back of the leg and just feel what they're doing, feel what they're up to. Where are they tight? Where do they need extra love and extra work? All right? So now that you can feel those muscles, we're going to stop with the foot flex, get a good grip, because now we're definitely using that strap, right? Take a big breath in, and as you exhale, press that leg into the strap by squeezing those tight muscles. Wherever they are, really try to pinpoint that feeling with your brain. So for me, it's the back of my thigh. So I'm really trying to use those specific muscles in the back of my thigh to press my foot into the strap. For 3, 2, 1, and then see if you can just get a little bit more length out of the back of the leg there. All right. One more time, flex and point. See if you get a little bit more love and joy out of it, a little bit more movement, a little bit more flexibility. Remember, progress is made in millimeters, right? Go nice and slow. Stop with that foot flexed. And here we go. We're going to take that strap off and start to lower that leg out towards the floor, making it as long as possible. Feel like you're trying to touch your foot down past the other foot, making your left leg 10 miles long. Excellent. And shake it out. All right, now that we've done some beautiful stretching for our hamstrings, we are going to strengthen them in service of opening up our hip flexors in the lunge that we're about to do. So you're going to need your sturdy piece of furniture for this one. And something about this height is great. You can go a little higher too. All right, and you're going to lay down again. Both legs are going to be extended out with your heels resting on your piece of furniture. And this is why it's better to have something firm than something squishy like a couch, right? Because you want to feel really solid in that. Then we're going to slightly bend the knees. So just like the shoulder bridging that we do in Splits Prep 1, we want that magnetic pull between the heels and the butt. So the backs of the legs are working really hard and you can feel them be super inspired. Now, using those muscles, we're going to start to lift the pelvis up off the floor. So there's this deep, deep tuck happening here. And I'm really firing these muscles. Now, how high up am I? Barely. Like, could you slip a piece of paper under my butt? Barely. But there's so much work happening in that downstairs butt to start to open up the front of the pelvis. The more tuck I can get, the more length I will get out of my hip flexors. And I like to extend both arms up in the air here to really get that feeling of hollowing out the body. Belly button presses down towards the floor. Heels keep pulling in towards the butt. And my legs are shaking, and hopefully yours are too. And you can feel how important it is to get those abs and downstairs butt muscles working to open up the hip flexors. Hold here for 3, 2, 1, and lower back down. And I always like to give them a little pat down afterwards because they've been so good. They worked so hard. All right, let's now use that for our lunge. So grab your piece of furniture if you need it for balance, and let's come on up to our lunge position. So now we are going to use those glorious downstairs butt muscles that we just woke up to go a little bit deeper into a muscular version of our lunge. And you're going to want to have your sturdy piece of furniture here in case you need it, but we're going to try not to use it. But it's there for you, or you can have a wall there for you just in case you start to feel teetery as we get into this new position. So we're going to start in the same lunge that we used before, where we're going to bring our leg in front, our body is vertical, and we're just saying hello and waking up the front of that hip and feeling that open up. Now we're going to intensify it. So lean forward, hands go on the floor, curl the toes of that back foot under, and hover that knee up off the floor. Now you can adjust the difficulty of this lunge by how close your feet are to each other. So the further away they are, the harder it's going to be. You can always adjust if it feels unbearable once we get up there. Because what we're going to do is bring our bodies up to vertical. Now we're really checking in this position to make sure that we're still in a good, healthy position for stretching our hips, right? Which means this hip still is coming forward and we're still tucking the pelvis under to get that deep stretch through the front of the hip. And all we're going to do here is just bend the knees down, bringing that back knee down towards the floor, and then come back up again. Don't have to go all the way to the floor. You can if you want, but we can keep it just small like this. And the idea is that with this knee bent, you're going to get a slightly different stretch than with it straight. So we're trying to feel the stretch the entire time, but slightly different. This is going to get more into the hip flexor, and then when the knee bends, it goes down a little bit more into the quad. See if you can feel those feelings. Good. Now, is this hard? Yes. Does this require a lot of strength? Yes. And in fact, it might feel even a little bit more like a strengthening exercise than a stretching exercise, and that's totally fine. We need to build both the strength and the flexibility. Sometimes we're working more on one, sometimes more on the other. As you get stronger, you'll start to get deeper and deeper into that stretch in the hip. Let's do one more, not counting. Who knows how many I did? I love guessing. And then we're going to bend both knees, bring the hands back down to the floor, drop that back knee down, and pat, 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 pat. Thank you, legs. That was wonderful. Should we do the other side? I can't see any reason not to. All right, so sitting up nice and tall. Now you can see a little bit more of what that front leg is doing. We're going to open up the front of the right hip by stepping that left hip forward and finding our positioning. So inner thighs are squeezed together, right side downstairs butt is working to push that hip forward, nice and strong in the abs. And this is just our little hello stretch, right, that we did in our splits prep 1. Hello to open up the front of that right hip. Now, are we ready to try intensifying this? Yes? So you're going to lean forward. I like to tent my fingers on the floor just because my arms are really short, but you can go flat palms if that feels better to you. Curl the back toes under and lift up that back knee. All right? You don't have to lock out the back knee here. It's a little bit soft as you bring the body all the way up to vertical. Remember, that furniture is there for you if you start to feel teetery. Totally normal. All right? Let's do our bending and straightening. So we're going to bend the knee, dropping that back knee down towards the floor, and then both legs straighten. Keep squeezing this downstairs butt the entire time. There is a tendency, especially as that back leg straightens, to come into the back arch. We're trying to prevent the back arch as much as possible for your body. I'm almost never rid of back arch just because of the way that my body is built. So we're just trying to minimize it. We're trying to feel how the strength of the abdominal muscles and the strength of the downstairs butt muscles work together to put more and more of the stretch into the hip rather than the back. And if you are someone with a flexible back and tight hips, this set of exercises can be really great for building the stability in your pelvis to try to counteract that and make sure that your back and hips stay healthy and you get more flexible through your hips, which can be hard to do if you're always bending your back. Let's do one more. All right, good, bend it down. Straighten it up, hold, push, push, push. And we're gonna bend that front knee, bring the hands carefully back down to the floor, drop it down, and pat it out. Thank you, hips. Thank you, hamstrings. Thank you, abs. All right, beautiful work. If it's hard, that's okay. This is hard stuff. I'm struggling too. Like, this is challenging work. And just remember that you can take it slowly and build it up over time. There is no race to be good at it. Feel free to alternate this video with Splits Prep 1 if that feels helpful to you, and you will see changes over time. If you like this video, thumbs it up, subscribe. We have so much juicy stuff here on this YouTube channel, and I'd love to hear from you. Comment, ask questions. I adore questions. All right, everybody, have a great time with your stretching, and happiest of bendings to you.